Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today, we're diving deep into a fascinating paradox, the idea that sometimes, to achieve more, to be more effective, and even to be happier, we actually need to stop trying so hard. Now, before you click away thinking this is an excuse for laziness, hear me out. This isn't about apathy or giving up on ambition. Far from it. This is about understanding the optimal application of effort, recognizing the point of diminishing returns, and embracing more sustainable, effective paths to success and well-being. We've been conditioned to believe that more effort always equals more reward, but the truth is, beyond a certain point, relentless striving can become counterproductive, leading to burnout, creative blocks, and even resentment towards our goals. 1. The myth of more, understanding the law of diminishing returns in action. Let's start with a fundamental concept, often overlooked in our pursuit of hustle culture, the law of diminishing returns. This isn't just an economic principle, it's a profound truth about human effort and productivity. Think of it this way, when you first start a task, whether it's studying, working on a project, or even practicing a skill, your initial efforts yield significant results. You're learning rapidly, making clear progress. This is like the steep, upward curve of productivity you'd see on a graph. However, as you continue to pour in more and more hours, more and more mental energy, the incremental gains you achieve begin to shrink. That curve flattens out. And eventually, if you push too hard, you hit a point where additional effort actually leads to negative returns. You've probably experienced this yourself. Imagine a marathon study session. The first 2 hours are highly effective. You're focused, absorbing information. But by hour 6, 8, or 10, your brain is fatigued. You're rereading paragraphs without comprehension, making silly mistakes, and probably feeling immense frustration. Are those last few hours truly productive, or are you just digging yourself into a deeper hole of exhaustion? Or consider over-revising a creative project. Writers, artists, designers, we've all done it. We've spent so long tweaking, refining, and perfecting something that we actually strip it of its original vitality, make it overly complicated, or introduce new errors. There's a point where stepping away is more beneficial than adding another layer of effort. Pushing past this optimal point isn't about dedication, it's about inefficient resource allocation. It depletes your most valuable assets, your energy, your focus, and your mental clarity, without proportional benefit. 2. The trap of over-control, embracing detachment and cultivating flow. When we try too hard, we often fall into the trap of over-control. We become so fixated on a specific outcome, so anxious about potential failure, that we inadvertently stifle the very spontaneity and intuition needed for peak performance. This intense mental grip creates pressure, which is the antithesis of creativity and efficiency. Instead, let's explore the power of detachment and the state of flow. Detachment from outcome, this doesn't mean you don't care about your goals. It means you release the desperate clinging to a specific result. Focus on the process with diligent effort, but allow for flexibility in the outcome. When you're less attached, you're less afraid to experiment, less paralyzed by the fear of failure, and more open to unexpected solutions. Paradoxically, this often leads to better outcomes because you're operating from a place of clarity, not anxiety. Cultivating flow states. Psychologists describe flow as being completely absorbed in an activity, losing track of time, and feeling a sense of effortless engagement. This is where peak performance truly happens. Think of a musician improvising beautifully, a coder seamlessly debugging, or an athlete executing complex movements with grace, they're in the zone. You can't force flow. It arises when there's a clear goal, immediate feedback, and a slight challenge that matches your skill level, all within an environment of minimal distraction and internal pressure. When you stop trying to be perfect and just do, allowing your skills to take over, flow becomes possible. This is where truly innovative ideas and elegant solutions often emerge, not from brute force, but from focused, yet relaxed, engagement. By letting go of the need for absolute control, you create the mental space for intuition, creativity, and your best work to surface naturally. 3. The perfectionism paralysis. The power of iteration over idealization. One of the biggest drivers of trying too hard is the relentless pursuit of perfection. We're afraid to launch, to share, to even begin, until something is absolutely flawless. This often leads to perfectionism paralysis. We get stuck in an endless loop of refining, tweaking, and second-guessing, rather than moving forward. Here's the liberating truth: perfection is often the enemy of good, and more importantly, the enemy of completion and progress. Embrace the minimum viable product. This concept, popular in the tech world, is invaluable everywhere. Get the essential version of your idea, project, or task out there. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just needs to be functional and provide value. The goal is to get it into the world, gather feedback, and then iterate. The iterative process, life, learning, and creation are not linear paths to a perfect endpoint. They are iterative cycles. You create, you learn, you adapt, you improve. Each iteration is a step forward, a chance to gather new data and refine your approach. By allowing for imperfection in early stages, you significantly reduce the pressure, accelerate your learning curve, and get to a much better final product faster than if you tried to make the first version flawless. Done is better than perfect. This mantra from Facebook is powerful. A finished, imperfect project that is out in the world providing value is infinitely more useful than a perfect project that lives only in your head or on your hard drive, perpetually unfinished. Releasing your grip on perfection frees you to act, to learn, and to grow. 4. The fuel tank analogy, prioritizing rest, recovery, and strategic disengagement. Our bodies and minds are not endless reservoirs of energy. Yet, in our quest to try hard, we often ignore the fundamental need for rest and recovery. We treat downtime as a luxury, or worse, as a sign of weakness. This is a critical mistake. Trying too hard, without adequate recovery, leads directly to burnout, diminished cognitive function, reduced creativity, and increased susceptibility to stress and illness. Think of it like trying to drive a car when the fuel gauge is on empty. You'll eventually break down. The science of downtime: our brains process and consolidate information during rest. Sleep, in particular, is crucial for memory formation, problem solving, and emotional regulation. Even short breaks during the day, known as microbreaks or the Pomodoro technique, can significantly boost focus and prevent fatigue. Strategic disengagement: this isn't just about passive rest, it's about actively stepping away from your work. Engaging in hobbies you enjoy, spending time in nature, exercising, socializing, these activities aren't distractions, they are essential for mental replenishment. Many brilliant ideas strike when we are not actively thinking about a problem, but rather when our minds are relaxed and open. This is known as the incubation period for creativity. The value of white space: just as good design incorporates white space, a productive life needs periods of unstructured time. This allows for spontaneous thought, reflection, and simply being, without the pressure of constant output. It's in these moments that we often gain new perspectives, recharge our emotional batteries, and reconnect with our core motivations. When you prioritize rest and recovery, you're not being lazy, you're making a strategic investment in your long-term productivity, creativity, and overall well-being. You're ensuring your fuel tank is full for when you do need to apply focused effort. So, how do we transition from the exhausting cycle of trying too hard to the more sustainable and effective path of effortless effectiveness? It starts with a fundamental shift in mindset. Recognize your limits, be honest about your energy levels and cognitive capacity. More hours don't always equal more output. Trust the process, not just the outcome, focus on consistent, quality effort in the present moment, and let go of obsessive control over future results. Embrace imperfection as a stepping stone, understand that iteration is the path to excellence, not initial flawlessness. Get started, get feedback, and evolve. Champion your downtime, view rest, play, and strategic disengagement as non-negotiable components of your success strategy, not as guilty pleasures. By integrating these principles, you might find that you achieve more, with greater ease, less stress, and a deeper sense of fulfillment. You'll stop fighting against yourself and start flowing with your natural capabilities. What are your thoughts on this? Have you experienced the benefits of easing up and trusting the process? Share your insights and experiences in the comments below. Let's create a community that understands the true power of strategic effort, not just endless striving.